This is it, people. This is what you've been waiting for. This is Everyday Celebrity Podcast. The podcast for everyday people with everyday problems, trying to find everyday solutions to accomplish everyday goals. Let's start the show. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Celebrity Podcast, number one podcast in Oakland, the number one podcast in the Bay Area. And today is long overdue. We have a fashion model, a poetess, I believe an actress.
I do a little.
A photographer. I'm a Uber driver. And, I mean, do you make pizzas as well?
I might as well just add that to the list.
Welcome, Sonder, to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great.
How was your night?
It's been it's been great. It's been great. I actually was at my art studio. I have one over near Alameda. It's like right before the bridge. And I was kind of over there sewing because I also sew.
You also sew?
I also sew. Not great, but I do sew, and I have my own art studio over there for editing and whatever purposes I want to do.
Do you just sew, or are you making clothes?
I'm making clothes. I'm like more so like the fashion designer aspect of it. I think that we had met before I started kind of doing that. And I was in bridal, and I decided to start learning how to sew my own clothes just because nothing fit me. I'm 6'1", curvy.
Yeah.
All right, what would they consider curvy with, how they make clothes nowadays is straight up and down.
Yeah. Do you find it hard to find clothes?
I do. I cannot find any pants that are long enough at all. And, long sleeves are not long enough.
So where do you shop usually?
Where do I shop? I usually thrift store now. I got this from a thrift store. This is from Thrifted, but it's that's Lulu.
Well, it seems like everyone thrifts nowadays.
I know, yeah. I mean, the quality is much better. This is 100% cotton. I don't have to worry about it having any 50s print polyester in it, and it's gonna wear down nicely. It's not gonna unseam or anything.
The issue with me when it comes to thrifting is back in the day, thrifting was something that you do when you're trying to save money. I can't afford new clothes, so I'm gonna go to the Salvation Army or some Goodwill or some shit like that, and you get shit for $10, $20. Now, thrifting, the secondhand clothes are more expensive than brand new clothes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I thrift in the Bay because they overcharge for a t-shirt. You go into San Francisco and it's $60 for this band t-shirt that's ripped apart, and you're just kind of why though?
Yeah.
Because that was my original reason for thrifting too, was because I just don't have that, that much money, and I'd rather spend that, on thrifted wear that's $10 or $15. I think I got this one for $17. This was in Santa Cruz, though. Santa Cruz, some stores have hopped on the expensive train, some have not.
Yeah, there's this one spot called I think it's called the Wardrobe Project. You've heard of that place? Okay. It's a thrift store, but they have some good shit. I haven't been there yet, but they put on a big event in Rockridge Park. That whole flea market, have you heard of that?
Yeah, it's underneath the overpass.
And they just had one a couple of months ago, and I went and got a old school Nautica jacket.
Oh, nice.
So you can find, you know about this, but you find some good shit.
You can. I mean, especially, if you go really outside of California, you can truly find some good stuff. I'll be in Ohio, and they have this gigantic, just thrift, people selling whatever.
Yeah.
You can sell pennies, you can sell bottle caps, or you can sell some clothes or collectibles. People are selling their crochet for $5, and you're like, wow, do you know how much you're worth right now? That takes 7 hours to make, and they're like, we know. I just didn't think anybody would buy it.
Real art shit.
Well, okay. That's fine with me.
So are you originally from the Bay Area?
South Bay. I'm
South Bay.
originally from San Jose.
Oh,
So
okay.
I grew up in San Jose, and then I got a scholarship to go to Academy of Art University to play golf for them.
Golf?
Yeah, I played golf for them. And my dad was really into us playing golf. He really wanted us to be professional and kind of go that route.
A 6'1" black girl.
Yep.
And the sport you chose was golf.
That's right. My dad thought, well, there's no 6'1" black women in
Is your
golf.
dad white?
What?
Is your dad white?
My dad's black.
Oh, your dad's black?
Yeah. My mom's white.
Your mom's white. Okay.
Yeah. I'm half. But he's the one who got. So he was back in the long day in the LA Olympics. He was one of the hurdlers for them in the Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah. So he kind of started off with us in track and field, and I just hated it.
When was this?
This was did he run?
Yeah, when was those LA Olympics?
1984.
1984? Okay.
Yeah, so he thought, well, we'll get him into track and field, and I was out there at I don't know, when was I? 8 years old and running around in 100-degree weather, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So he's like, we'll play tennis and we'll play basketball and golf instead. And so he had us actually start golf when we were 5.
Did you enjoy golf? Or did you just play it because you felt like you were forced?
I think both. I realized I got diagnosed with diabetes. It's going to be going on 5 years now in 2019, right?
Yeah.
Right after school.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So I mean that's kind of the part of it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean the short answer is yes. It's not my straight passion.
Are you saying having diabetes is golf was the only sport that you could play because of that?
I could play any sport at all. I can do anything. I can eat anything like that. It was just I didn't cry over golf. It was not something that I was passionate about every time I won or was close to winning or was doing well and people wanted to interview me or whatnot. I just didn't care. And I didn't think about it until I got diagnosed because I was sitting in a hospital for 2 days, about a day and a half, and really contemplating my life when I was 22, 23-ish.
What type of child were you / teenager?
I was quiet. I didn't talk a lot. I was very mute. People would consider me weird. I was a little overweight.
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
What's a little overweight too?
I was right now.
Because I can
comparison.
I'm overweight. If you look at the BMI scale at my age and my weight that's now, it says that I'm overweight.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a roll. I had a little bit of rolls going on.
Were you fat?
Yeah, I was a little bit. I wasn't super, but I was, especially for being tall and in high school, I definitely was.
It probably didn't it probably didn't show on you because you were tall.
I don't know. For me, I look very different. So people who've seen me now versus seeing me when I was 18, I kind of looked like a grandma. My face was just not happy because I was pretty upset as a kid and pretty depressed as a kid and stuff like that. So it was just a lot of, I just looked unhealthy kind of. Yeah. But I wasn't super, super overweight, but I just didn't look super healthy either. Yeah.
Were you depressed? Looking back at your childhood as a grown-up, you said you were depressed. Were you really depressed, or were you just like every teenager? Because a lot of people throw that word out, right? Oh, I'm sad. I lost my job. I'm sad. I'm depressed. I don't have money to go out and party anymore. Because that was what made me happy. But now. A couple months go by, I get another job. Now I got money again. Now I'm happy. So were you really depressed, or were you just sad at the moment? So
I can talk. So this is I don't know if I should get an explicit warning. But growing up, so I was basically physically abused and raped at the age of 5 for I don't know how long, and it was by me and my sister's babysitter, and kind of growing up through that and being a Black woman for some reason, I don't know, people perceive Black men and women as older, even when they're kids.
Yeah.
And so people would, harass me in that way. Like, corner me in like school closets. I've had a homeless man grope me right at Christmas Eve. My friends kind of bullied me. I had a few friends here and there that I would kind of grasp onto, once a year or so. And I didn't quite understand social cues and inflections a lot. So like growing up was really hard for me to navigate. It was hard for me to navigate my family and kind of their dynamics and going through with that and them understanding me and kind of how I move through the world. So it was a bit difficult every single day, I think, in high school and like in middle school and elementary school. Like towards the end of elementary school is kind of when I started having like a little bit of a conscious awareness about like things that were going on in my life.
Are you comfortable talking about the rape?
Sure. Yeah.
So this babysitter was a male, or it was a male babysitter?
Female.
A female babysitter.
Female babysitter. She was in our neighborhood. She was right across the street. So we lived in I'll call it a Latino neighborhood. And like we'd have the pan dulce truck come by, we have the tamales truck come by, like all of that. And we got along, and kind of the culture of the cul-de-sac is everybody was family. And so, you'd get spanked on the butt no matter if you knew that person or not, that type of energy. And so the woman from across the street.
This is in San Jose?
San Jose.
Okay.
Yeah. She must have been either 16 or 17. I don't quite remember. And so she was babysitting me and my sister. And like some of my memory is blacked out due to it. But she would do it every time she would babysit us.
Both of you?
Yeah. So she would have us like, and just explicit warning, but she would have us like, from my memory, sit outside the room and call us in one by one. And then like if we didn't do the things that she told us to do, then she would like hit us or do whatever and then be like, go get your sister, and she would do this. And none of my family didn't know that this was happening. And as a result, I think my sister got Bell's palsy at a very, very young age. And that's kind of this condition. I can't say too much about it, but it's usually only in people who are 60 and older, unless there's a high severity of stress. And so she got that at like the age of like, she must have been 6. And basically half of your face goes paralyzed. And like half of the functions and like your body kind of shut down. And
is that from like being hit?
It's just from the stress of it all, I think. She's much more like extrovert and everything now, but when she was a kid, she used to be really anxious a lot. And the thing is, when you're so young, you can't tell what is right or what is wrong. You just like, something's uncomfortable, but you can't explain why. It's kind of...
So you didn't, when this was happening, you said you were young. You didn't realize what was going on at the time? No,
I didn't realize what was going on at the time. So the only time I started kind of reflecting was in high school, like started like the end of middle school and beginning of high school. And like, I told my friends one day something about like, my babysitter, used to touch us or something weird. And then they were like, that's not normal. And I was like, oh, that's not normal. And that kind of made me reflective. My brain protected me from a lot of it. So I just don't have like quite a strong memory of most of the stuff that's happened. Even like before age 23, my brain kind of blacks out a little bit. And unfortunately, like, I don't have the privilege of memory before 23. So I have some things, but it's like kind of blackouts, like with friends from my past too. I don't quite remember. Like I'll remember their essence or their presence, but I won't quite remember some situations we went through. And they're like really surprised and a little weirded out by it and whatnot. So
how old is your sister? Is she younger or older than you?
She's younger by 2 years. So I think she's like 26 and a half, I think. I think she's 27, or she's 27 now. She's 27 and a half, gonna be 28.
When did this all stop?
What, the abuse?
Mhm.
I have no idea. Like, I can't remember that. That part is beyond me.
Is this woman like? Did you ever tell your parents?
I did. I told them when I was 22, and they didn't know how to take it. Actually, there was a moment, and I was upset with my mom, but she didn't know at the time. When I was in high school, I think it was like 17 or 18. I can't quite remember, but she had us go back and visit that family. And I was just not, I really didn't want to go. And I kept telling her, but she
what was the reasoning for that?
What?
What was the reasoning for your mom taking you back to the family?
I don't remember. My mom had us do random things, like communal things and whatnot. I think she just wanted us to visit. And she's like, well, these are the people who took care of you when you were younger. And it's kind of what I remember. I think it's around those lines. And I do remember this is when we got there, I was very quiet. And we went in, and this woman she couldn't even get off the couch. I looked at her, and she created a prison in her body. And it wasn't necessarily validating, but she didn't really speak to me at all. Like, she didn't say anything from my memory.
So she was still there in the same house?
She was still there in the same house. I think she had a kid, but she definitely, like, if she did get off the couch, and I know it must have been a struggle. Like, that's kind of...
And you're saying get off the couch, was she like...
she must have been...
like 600 pounds or something?
She must have been like over 400 pounds or something. Yeah, she was... From my memory, she was like very big. And it was just an interesting thing to be a part of, that I was forced to be there for. And we didn't really talk to them from my memory of it. And then my mom picked us up like 30 minutes to an hour later. And she also just left us there, which was a bit odd, but...
That's crazy. And this is after you tell your mom that you were molested.
This is before. Yeah, she didn't know. When you're a victim, you're tired all the time, and you don't want to say anything. And the reason why is you don't want to be a bother too. Because if you, as a victim, and I've talked to other people who have not gone through something similar, but like different, like, parallel things. And like, they just would prefer not to talk about it, or they'd prefer not to take action, even though they could take action, because it's just exhaustive to do that. Because your brain's already in survival mode. Your brain's trying to cut out all of that information so that you don't have to experience trauma. It's kind of like protecting itself from that. Might be close enough. Sorry. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's just that, I lost my train of thought, but basically I told her at 22 because of that reason, because it was just too much of a burden. I was dealing with too much stuff emotionally, figuring out how to get my stability, which I didn't even get until after diagnosed with diabetes, and like growth in that way.
So after this happened, I'm pretty sure that it affects people. Things affect people differently, right? Some people can go through life and be like, "Oh, this happened," and then some people can be suicidal and shit. Like some people, it can change the way you look at. Like if you were raped by a man, it could change the way you look at men, and you could be hesitant to be intimate with men, and so on and so forth. How did it affect your day-to-day personal life?
Yeah, it was hard. I didn't trust men or women at that point, because growing up, to the other harassments were for men. So being on the golf course, being like the two Black women on the golf course, all the time we'd get harassed by old men in front of their wives even. And no one said anything. No one did anything. And no one was protective of us. So we just kind of had to like deal with that, because we'd be on the golf course. We'd be at country clubs by ourselves, because my dad couldn't be there to coach us, because that was part of the deal that he made with the country club. So he would just drop my sister and I off, and people would come up to us, and it would be just normal golf courses, and just, making comments about how my figure is, or like, wow, you look older than how old are you? Oh, you look older than 15. Here's my business card. Things like that you
Little
get.
nasty white men.
Yep. I'm like, I'd rather have like, an honest, like on the streets of San Francisco, like, I don't know, wow, I'd love to have sex with you versus the like sleazy of old rich white men. Like, I just would prefer it because at least I know exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how it affected me basically is I only got into one relationship, and that was when I was 23. And I was fearful of intimacy. I did not like being touched. People would come up, my family members would come up and like kind of do like on the neck. I don't know if you ever had that. And
No,
when I was in Ohio, I hated that because I would scream and they wouldn't understand why and stuff. And like I couldn't be touched. I had difficulty saying I love you to my family. I didn't want to be touched by my family or hugged by my family. Even going into college, I was very soft-spoken. Like, most people wouldn't know I'm very much introverted. I just practice talking.
Yeah.
And I used to be very quiet and very mute as a kid. So it was hard being intimate with anybody. I mean, like I said, I didn't have a relationship till 23. And even that relationship was not intimate. It was more like a friendship for 4 years and a half. We didn't really do too much intimacy in it just because I wasn't ready for intimacy. And I kind of had to go back and heal myself from those traumas.
Did it create any, what when you were going through this and then when you got older, did it create any resentment toward your parents? For not like feeling like protected by your parents or after you tell them like the way they handled it after they found out about it?
Yeah, so no. But I do wish that my family noticed because I know, and maybe it's because I am a victim and a survivor of a lot of harassment, that I can see and pinpoint when someone is going through something. I just wish they had noticed. I don't really quite like, how could you have not known? Like, from before I was, before 5 and before this stuff happened, I was a very loving kid. I loved to be hugged. I loved to hug other people. And then right after that, I stopped all of that. And I wish they had noticed, but they just didn't. And I think that was just because they were going through their own things, which is not necessarily an excuse, especially if it's your kid. But I don't hold resentment, but I'm a bit of an odd case. My belief is that everybody's a child, and no matter how old you are, you're still learning and growing. And some people are just not as grown as other people in certain degrees. So that's kind of how I had that conclusion.
So growing up, both of your parents were in the household?
Yeah, they were both in the household.
Are they still together now?
No,
Okay.
They're divorced now. They're good friends though. Yeah, so my dad's personality is very much, he's got ADHD that's undiagnosed. So he leaves he's got coffee glasses. And I had to point this out. I do feel bad for pointing this out to him because now he's kind of going through a crisis about it because I've gotten diagnosed. And he'll leave cups of coffee half filled, whether it's in the microwave, outside in the bushes, in the bathroom, in the bathtub.
That's weird.
Yep.
Does he go back to drink it?
Nope. It's just there. And he'll be like, oh, I forgot this was here. And like he had a weird schedule for like cleaning the kitchen. We had to clean the kitchen every day, but it was always an odd hour. Because I think he got fixated on the TV or something. And so it'd always be like at 11 o'clock at night, we had to go clean the kitchen. But so he's kind of like that. He's a coach right now. And he's having fun coaching hurdles and track and field. He is, his personality is very like social, sometimes emotionally unavailable. He struggles with that a little bit. But he was the one who kind of taught us how to do our hair and like did our hair in the morning when we were kids. Like we'd sit there and he'd put it up in a ponytail for us and whatnot and did what he could. Where my mother, so she's white, and my mother was kind of the stress ball. She's an accountant and she was more whimsical. She did the crafts with us. She did the parties with us. She what else would I say about my mom? She was always kind of busy for us too. So my dad was kind of the one to take us out to golf and do all the other activities.
Did you lean more toward the Black culture
in my family? No. So growing up was kind of, it's actually growing up now, like at age 29, even the last several years, it's been me kind of integrating myself back. Because my dad was always had this belief of kind of, which I wish that he taught us more.
Don't tell me your dad, don't take this wrong way.
Nope, it's fine. Go ahead and talk about it.
Was your dad a coon?
What do you mean by that?
A coon is like a Black person who looks down on Black people.
No.
A Black guy who wishes they were white.
No. Luckily, no. Okay. He would show us a lot of like Black success history and like stuff like that. But it was we did not talk about Black issues a lot. So that's funny. No. but we did not talk about Black issues a lot. And I think that's something that I struggled with coming out of high school. Like where we had 7 Black kids in the school, you know? And like one Black kid was counting all of us one day and he's like, we only got 7. Yeah. And we're like, well, it was mostly like Latino and white. And it was harder growing up and realizing kind of like me being mixed, this separation that I wish I didn't have. But my mom didn't really want to engage with that. And that was hard. That's hard for me, even to this day, it was always kind of a battle, you know, because we were all Black in the house and she wasn't. And so it was kind of we had to be careful how we presented issues. And she was a person who preferred not watching the news even. So about anything, she just didn't want to hear about it. And so me and my dad would talk about it with us, like at golf practice or outside, but we couldn't really like have discussions in the home. So I wasn't like aware, for example, like my dad, I wish he had said, don't let people touch your hair. Because that was not something that was crossing my mind as a kid. That was a microaggression racism, you know? And so I wish there was these little things that I was taught, like also how to take care of my hair. My dad straightened it when we were really young just to keep it easy, or he braided it like how it is right now and just to keep it easy. And so I never knew how to take care of my hair growing up. I had to learn that on my own after in college.
Do you think all that history and experience, do you think, I don't know if you believe in marriage or not, but do you think you will end up, or would you ever end up marrying outside your race? And I mean a white man.
A white man? At this point, the moment the election happened, I was like, hell no.
Well, I'm basically what I'm saying is, because you know how you were like, oh, moms don't understand us, we're all Black. Feels like we're segregated in our own house. Right? And then your mother not knowing even how to do your hair and shit like that. So
would I marry? Well, so I will say my last relationship was with a white man for that 4.5 years. But he had no problem with me talking about racial things at all. And
you had a woke white man.
Yes. Technically, he's German. He was German. His mom's German, and he had no care. He even to this day, because we're still friends, he's like, I don't care. I really don't. I'm like, he's like, yeah, that happens, and that sucks, you know. So he's very understanding to that does not interject in that way at all. But the other, we'll call it dating. We'll call it talking. I talked to 2 Black men and I've posted this on my Instagram. 2 white men, 2 white men who delved themselves into Black culture, but did not respect Black men or women. And it was such a facade because they'd hang around Black faces. They would listen to Black music. But when I came around, they basically fetishized me.
Oh yeah, I mean that's going to happen when you date a white person. I believe they just date because it's a fetish.
Yeah,
just like when white men date Asian, Chinese, Japanese girls. It's just a fetish.
Yeah. I've just realized they don't understand. My last relationship was a little unique in that specific way, but like a lot of the people they don't understand hardship.
Yeah,
they don't have that type of understanding. I mean, I've had one of them just like, I date like usually Latino and then Black men, but I just noticed like people tend to, especially just me across the board as being a Black woman, I just hear a lot of like, what makes you successful as a Black woman? Like, what are you actually providing for your community as a Black woman? That type of commentary towards me, or like, oh, I've never dated a Black woman before. And it doesn't even have to be a white man saying this. And that's what kind of makes me fearful of men right now, just in general, outside of Black men. I'm just like, now I have to be careful about all you guys, because I didn't actually start dating until after I broke up with my ex. I didn't start dating. I just got together with him the second day. And then COVID happened. And then I just lived with him for a long time. And it just happened to work out. But I never actually dated and like talked to men, because all the men in my life never would do anything like that. Yeah. But in romance life, it was so different to navigate. I tell guys, because they always want to know. I don't know why they want to know, but I tell them how many men I've talked to. But then I also tell them how many dates I've been on. And they're like, why is your ratio so crazy? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. That's a stupid question.
They don't ask. Yeah. They always want to know.
Who cares?
I know.
Just expect everyone has a history.
I know, right? I know, but I haven't been on too many dates. I'm actually going to date tomorrow. It's at the Oakland Museum at the nighttime live event. Yeah,
I never went, but I plan on going one day.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was like, this is the first time a day I was like, wow, that's really interesting. This is the first. We're actually doing something fun, not just a walk in the park.
So after you finished, what year did you finish high school?
Was it 2019 is when I graduated. 18, 16, 15. It must have been 2014.
You don't know when you graduated high school?
I don't remember anything before 23. I'm like, my brain goes in gaps. I don't remember.
All right, well, so after high school, where did you go straight to the Academy of Arts?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so you already knew that you wanted to go there, or what?
I didn't even know where I wanted to go to school. My dad kind of pushed it, because he was like, well, you like art, and you can get a scholarship. And the woman who was the coach at the time was watching us in Las Vegas. It was a freezing cold day, and she's like, yeah, I want them. And so I got to go.
So you were really good.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
I didn't even know. I just found this out like a couple years ago about they have sports teams at that school, because I thought it was just like just straight arts.
Guess what
they got a basketball team. They got a fucking all that. They got a football team, right?
The football?
I'm asking, do they have football?
No, they don't have football. They got soccer. But the biggest it was a track team. They were basically D1. They had an Olympian on their team. And but no, they're stripping it. They're not having it anymore.
What, sports?
Yeah, they're not doing it. Yeah. And the thing with the sports in the school is we got so many more Black kids in the school. And that was kind of why the former president did it. And it's mostly Asian, international Asian is usually, but they decided to cut it this year, actually, which is really upsetting.
And there's a shit ton of the Academy of Arts owns a shit ton of buildings
2%.
in San Francisco. It's crazy.
It's 2%. They've been getting in trouble for so long, and they don't manage the school well. I mean, the teachers are wonderful and amazing. The government of the school is the worst. I mean, they were getting sued for basically taking government loans because they knew kids weren't going to pay it off nor finish school because it's so expensive. And they don't have any scholarships there except for the sports teams.
Yeah.
It's super, exploitive.
Was your college experience the same as it was in high school, or better, or what?
My experience in like golf, or just like lifestyle?
Just like life. Like, was your social life better in college?
No.
Or worse?
I didn't go out. I didn't party. I didn't drink. I just stayed home, and that was about it. I went out a few times with a few friends. Like, it was objectively better than high school. Yes, I removed myself from like my family, which was better, and then having to navigate San Francisco as a kid, which is really interesting. You get San Francisco is an interesting space, just like Oakland. You kind of get random things happening. If you can imagine it,
fast.
If you can imagine it, it's gonna happen. First night, I think I walked down the street by myself. It was a block. There was like a tinted out SUV following me, and he's like, "You want to go to a party?" And I'm like, looking
You said
back.
yes?
No. I was like, "Get away from me. Who are you? I'm 18. I just got here yesterday." Like,
that's crazy.
I wasn't a partier as a kid. If anything, I started going out more at 23 a little bit, and then I actually started going clubbing at like 26. Sounds like a little late.
So when you were in college, were you still like a personality-wise, were you still quiet and shy and all that shit?
I was, until I was in first music production, sound design. So I started off there because I wanted to do sound design for movies. And I was very quiet, but I had to learn that people would bully me for it because I wasn't good at it. Because they came into the school having some information about music. So I remember one day, like, they were just upset that I just didn't know anything. And it was like the first day of school. And I just stood up and I said, "I know I'm stupid, but I'm here, so you have to accept it." And I just sat back down and stayed quiet. And everyone respected me after that. And I had great friends coming out of music. I just switched to multimedia, I think a year and a half, 2 years in, just because it was too hard and I didn't know what I wanted to do and I didn't understand it. So I switched to multimedia technologies, which was harder because they're not as creative. It's more like the business side of art, and it wasn't creative. Not everybody was like weird or interesting in their own way. It was a lot of sports kids, and so they found me weird and odd, attractive, I guess, from my memory now, but like weird and odd. And it was better. I would say my golf life was much better in high school. I liked it much better in the way of the sports team I was on. I played an all-men's team there, and it was fun because I got to be a bro with all of them and whatever. And then going into college, it was very catty. And it was women, and the coach was crazy. I mean, she would berate us all day long. She'd be like, "Why aren't you working harder? When we're on a tournament, it's like golf. You can't like run faster. You can't be like sprint harder.
Yeah.
So
golf
it was kind of not very helpful in that way. I never liked her. I always think if I saw her again, I'm gonna be like, "You really like." You were a mean person, and you were abusive. She was emotionally abusive,
So you have a whole list of people to get revenge on, like to shoot and kill back when
I do.
That's crazy.
I know. It's a wild story.
Did you, when did you finish college?
I finished college in 2019. Yes.
And then where did you end up?
And where I ended up... So I can go into the diabetes thing now because that's kind of what happened. With golf, the only positive is I didn't have to have a job as long as I was working like 8 hours a day because that was my dad's like requirement for us. So I didn't have a job until after college, kind of. I did do golf camp and stuff like here and there, and taught kids. But I didn't know what I wanted to do because I was in that hospital room, and then I was like, white walls, and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be in this place to be my last place here and me not feel passionate. So I was like, Dad, I'm quitting golf. And he was a little disappointed. And he was like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know now. And one day he sent me a thing for Neck of the Woods, like a link or something for open mic over there.
Uh-huh.
And then that was when I started writing poetry. So that, I think it was like a week before I just started writing poetry.
Wait, let's get back to the.
We can get back. Sorry, it's like kind of the timeline is a bit odd.
Let's get back to that to the diabetes thing.
Yeah.
When did you? Because I'm not ignorant toward like diabetes and all that other shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I know about diabetes is like, have you seen that movie Soul Food back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Where the grandma had diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
you had to get her foot cut off or leg or whatever. That's the gist of my diabetes education. So, can you explain to the people like what exactly diabetes is and how did you come to find out you had it?
Yeah, so type 1 is different from type 2. I think it's a high percent. I think it's over 50% of Americans have type 2. There's it's getting to there at least. Type 1, it's only about 0.4% of America. So there's only about like 1.2 million of us in America. Type 1 is an autoimmune, which is what I have. So I'll just focus on that one. Type 1 is an autoimmune disease. That's where your pancreas shuts off. Your body attacks it and basically it's killed. And what the pancreas does is every time you eat food, every time you drink juice or anything, it changes that sugar into energy for your brain and helps your body move that stuff around and your nutrition around. So I don't have that. So basically I'm an imploding bomb. My body, so what happens is for me, since I don't have a pancreas, my body will just increase in what's called blood sugars. And I'll just keep going until I eventually go, my blood's boiling and I go into a coma. And if I don't get treated, then I die. And so that's kind of the basis of type 1 diabetes is you just don't have something working in your body anymore. And so now you either take shots. So I used to take like 9 shots a day, or you have something like I have it on my arm right now. Is this thing called a pump, and it delivers insulin to me every 3 minutes. And then if I need to eat food, I have to calculate math in my brain how much carbs it's going to be. Is it going to be faster? Is it going to be slower? Like juice is very quick, to cake is a little slower, to potato is even slower. It's like this whole nuanced thing that I have to navigate. And it's not just food. So if I go work out, I have to be very careful because I can shoot straight down. And if you go too low, you go into a seizure. If you don't get help, you die. So I have to be careful with walking. I have to be careful with if it's hot or if it's cold outside. Being careful with stress. Too much insulin if I'm not managing, if I'm not seeing it. Like I have a thing on my phone. I can show you. It shows a little graph where my blood sugars kind of are. So yeah, that's kind of the basis of type 1 without going into like all the nutrition stuff.
How did you how does one find out that they have it? Like, do you faint one day and wake up and the doctor's like, oh, you got diabetes?
Sometimes. So a lot of people assume that it's all just like you were born with it. It's called LADA, so I'm late onset. Some people are born with it and some people get it at any time. So I got it when I was 23 and some people can get it when they're 60, And basically for me, how I got it was you start peeing a lot. And people always come to me when I say that. The first thing they say is, I pee a lot. And I said, no, you would know. I promise. It's like every 3 minutes. Like your body can't hold. It's trying to regulate itself. And then my vision started going blurry to where I was going blind and I was driving. And like I started throwing up a lot and stuff. And basically at that point, you're like, well, I probably should go to the doctor. You're thinking. If I can't see and I'm going to the bathroom a lot and all this other stuff. And I did go to the doctor. I went to urgent care first. And it was a rainy night. This was a week after my terrible roommate kicked me out of her house and basically wrote a list of things that she hated about me. And she was crying. And then she said, well, I hope you can fix it. As she sent me on my way the next day, said, you can leave right now.
Person number 3 on the list. Okay, I'm taking count.
Yeah. So a week later after that, that's when, and you also start to lose weight really quickly. And so it was like a rainy night. I had to go to urgent care. I went over there and they're like, your blood sugar is high. But you're skinny. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, I don't know what any of this means. And I had to go to ER and then eventually had to go to the overnight because they had to regulate me because everyone kept going around it. They were like, well, we think you're type 1, but we're not sure. And that's been my whole experience with the medical field. Like, I don't like doctors, to be honest. And it's not individuals.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't like doctors. And like even my doctor, I always bring somebody with me when I go, usually. And they get offended every single time. But I'm like, I just don't like you guys. Because the thing is, the moment that I got diagnosed, that I was in there for a day and a half and everyone kept coming around being like, maybe you have this. And like, they were never definite and they never taught me how to control it and what to do because I'm an adult and they don't think about that for adults.
You must have went to Kaiser.
I don't remember where I went. I don't remember. It was rainy and I was blind, so I don't know where. We can call it that one. We can say it was Kaiser. Yeah.
You say you mentioned the pouch. How is that installed in you?
My pump?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can show you.
You don't gotta show me, but I mean,
I can just show you real quick.
all right.
I'm not taking off my clothes. I'll just show you right here. So it looks like this.
Okay.
So I have to change this out every 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
and it cannot be in the same spot. And basically, it's a needle. It's called a cannula that goes into you. And I have this app on my phone.
So you do it yourself?
I have to do it myself. Yeah, and I have to rotate it. So I'll show you you're not going to understand anything that I'm about to show you right now. But this basically shows me where my predicted blood sugars are going to be. This shows me how much insulin is going into my body. And then this, it shows me how much active insulin, which is over, I'm not going to explain that because it's too confusing. But basically, these just show me how much insulin is in my body. And then up here shows me like how many days I have left until I have to change it out again.
And one day.
That's 1 day and 12 hours. That's right. So I have to change it out every 3 days.
And what happens if you don't? Like if you forget?
It just stops working. It'll start screeching at me, like a very high-pitched screech. Sometimes it does that.
So that's just the needle that, you don't have to specifically put it in like a vein or anything? You just poke it anywhere?
Just poke it anywhere. Because it should just go right under the skin. It shouldn't go straight to like the muscle or anything. Yeah, so as long as it's not a vein, you're good. And
that's the same thing that you have on your waist?
On my waist? Oh, from my photos and stuff. It's actually on my butt right now. And that thing is this thing, which shows where my blood sugars are. So this like little graph here.
So that's not pumping insulin. That's something different.
This is just This is just showcasing where I'm at. So it tells me if I'm going too high or if I'm going too low. It tells me like kind of the area. And typical people are anywhere between 80 and 100, which is kind of all the way down there, Preferably, it would be cool to be down there all the time, but I'm still working out my mental issues with diabetes. It's kind of it's scary. I was insomniac for a really long time when I first got diagnosed because no one told me anything. And the thing is when, the symptoms of a seizure is I always say it's feeling drunk without the benefits. So you can't think, you can't process. Your brain is kind of like loopy a little bit, but your heart starts pounding really fast. Once you're closer to your seizure, you start sweating profusely and you start shaking. And that's kind of like that. And so they never told me about taking too much insulin. They never, told me what a ratio is, which ratio is basically every 10 carbs. You can look on the back of that. I think that's probably like 50 something, 57 or something. It's probably real high. You look at the carbs and 1 unit of insulin will take away 10 of those is kind of the thing. So they never told me any of this information. And I had to learn by myself, so I just cut out all the food. And I just decided to go full keto I'm low carb now because I'm trying to get out of it. But for like 5 years, I was full keto just because of fear of food.
Did you see a nutritionist?
I did, but every nutritionist has their own opinion about nutrition, and I don't agree with any of them. Like, if they were Black, it would be such a different story. But they're never, I wish I had Black doctors.
Yeah.
Like, I truly do. And there was a Black doctor, but she's not covered by my insurance. So it's just like...
Well, the reason I asked that is because did you learn that you have to stay away from... Like you said, you don't drink. If you drink, is that like a dangerous thing?
It can be. Some diabetics do. I just didn't drink because I didn't drink when I was younger, but then I didn't drink because drinking is hard to manage on diabetes. You can do it. Some people are alcoholics in type 1.
Yeah.
But what happens basically is it pauses your liver from producing sugar. So your body is always producing energy, even without you eating. And so that's why this has to like go off every 3 minutes, because my body's always producing that. If it's not, that's a bad thing too. And so basically what alcohol does, like say a tequila, it pauses your liver from producing sugar. And so it can drop you really quickly. So you have to be very careful. With something like beer, it can drop you and then rise you. So you have to be really careful because you can either go way too high or way too low. I forgot his name. It was like a famous musician. He actually died from alcohol because he was type 1. And I cannot remember his name, but he died that night and no one knew he was passed out and dead because of his diabetes.
I recently got diagnosed. I mean, since we're talking about this type of shit.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I recently got diagnosed, right, with, because I thought I had colon cancer.
Yeah.
Because, you typical nigga, something going on, you go on WebMD, Google, Google doctor, you type in symptoms, I got these symptoms, and then all this other shit comes out. So what I typed in, what came back was like straight up colon cancer. I was like, God damn, colon cancer, shit.
All right.
So, so I go to the doctor.
Yeah.
I go to the doctor. I get 2 colonoscopies. You know what colonoscopies are,
yeah, they're
right?
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You got 2 of them?
Got 2 of them shits. So, I mean, getting the actual colonoscopy is nothing, but it's just the prep that you got to do. That's the crazy thing. So, anyway, the colonoscopies, we do those. Doctor's like, okay, well, it's not colon cancer. It's ulcerative colitis.
Oh.
So... I got that, right? And so the doctor's telling me, like, she gave me pills and shit, gave me some stuff to do down there. And I'm taking it, right? But my symptoms are like, they're still bad. Like, so I'm like, yo, this medicine ain't working. And I asked the doctor, I was like, yo, what's the worst case scenario if this shit don't get better? And she was like, you have to get an operation and get your anus removed. And then and then you're going to have to shit in a bag. There's going to be a bag, where you're...
Oh, yes.
You'd heard this, right?
Yes,
you're going to have to walk around with a pouch on your stomach.
Yeah.
And then every time you eat, when you shit, it's going to go into this bag. Right? So I'm like, oh my goodness. If that ever happens to me, that's probably like the most, like, not suicidal, but like, I don't know what the fuck I'll be doing if I had to walk around.
That's hard.
With a bag shitting in it, right?
Yeah.
But hopefully my symptoms started to decrease because
is this going on right now?
Yeah. So basically I think 6 weeks I go and I get infusions where they shoot the medicine directly into my bloodstream.
You have to sit there and...
Yeah, you just sit there for 30 minutes and then they shoot like 800 milligrams of this medicine. I forgot what it's called, but the difference is it's going directly into my bloodstream instead of like taking a pill where you have to wait and shit. And it's stronger because it's like when they shoot it in your bloodstream, it's like instant, like boom. So basically, I'm all good. So thank the Lord or whatever you believe in for that, right? But the reason I bring this up is I don't know how I would feel socially or mentally if I had to walk around with like a pouch on my stomach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you walk around. I mean, the comparison is not the same, obviously, because I think that pouch is way, way, way worse. Walking around with shit under your pocket, right?
Yeah.
But still, you have something that you have to have on your body. I'm assuming 24/7. Yes.
Yeah.
Did it make you feel like, oh, I'm not sexy anymore? Or did it like lower your self-esteem or anything?
Actually, no. Like, this is surprising with my brain versus some other people's. It didn't. It actually didn't. I do think when I became full onset diabetic, which was 3 years later, that's when I had like a few days of suicidal tendency. Because I was like, it can't get any worse than this. This is like so bad, you know?
Yeah.
But being like the external aspects, I think because I'm such a weird case in the way of how my brain works is I find beauty in everything. And I don't know if that's because I went through so much shit. Like growing up, I just have a different perspective of life. But every time I think about it, and like I do get annoyed when people are like, I don't know, the stupid diabetes jokes of like, don't eat too much sugar because you're gonna get diabetes. I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me too much. It's just kind of a dumb joke. I'm like, come up with something better, please. You know, my sister one day, just a little tangent, she one day, so she knows like enough to make dumb jokes, you know, that are funny. And I was talking to her on the phone. And I was like, man, my diabetes is acting up today. And she was just like, you know what, Sterling, I have to say thank you for you getting diabetes. And I was like, why? And she's like, we all eat better because of you. I was like, that's fair. And she's like, since you're keto, thank you so much for guiding us in the right nutritional direction. And I'm like, you know, it was funny to me and like stuff like that. But like, externally, the only thing I get really irritated is when a photographer or something is like, can you take that off? And I'm like, no. Can you take your pancreas out? I don't think so.
That's stupid.
No, I'm like, you can't edit that out. I'm sorry, I could. Have you seen my profile? Let me just go ahead and show you right quick. Because I can take photos too. And I take them very well.
That leads me into my next questions. If someone was when someone listens to this episode, right? And then they hear everything that you described before this moment, they'll be shocked to find out that you do what you do now, which is modeling. And then they'll be more shocked into finding out like the type of pictures that you take.
Yeah.
Right? So my question to you is, how did you get into that? What spurred the confidence of being a model and be comfortable enough to like? I mean, you're not posing nude, but I mean,
I pose in lingerie.
Yeah, lingerie and all that shit. You're doing runways, right?
Yeah. Honestly, when you're, you know, and when you're in a situation, especially medically, and then amongst all the other stuff, and you're in a hospital room, I've talked to many people who have like had tumors and stuff taken out, things that are going to kill them, cancers and stuff. They have so much gratitude in life that like dying is the worst thing that could happen, you know? And like you already were on your deathbed. So like I am fearful and stressed out and have anxiety, but like I override that because I'm like, life's short. And it's not because the amount of days you live, it's because you literally don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when you're going to have ulcerative colitis. You don't know if you're going to have something, you know, where you have to poop in a bag. You literally don't know. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm not saying that to you, but what I'm saying is people don't know like until things happen to them. You know, whether that's medical or like family things or finance things or like abuse situations, you just don't know until it happens, and then your whole world is kind of changed. And so I just went through with that type of confidence, I guess. Like, and that's what goes into the poetry thing, which we can talk about later. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a part of my body now, and I just kind of accept it. Like if I am changing it out on that day, I'm like, I can put it on my leg if that makes it easier for you, but I gotta have it. There's a famous model. Does Gigi Hadid have a kid? There's a kid of a famous model who's also a model, and she has type 1 diabetes, and she goes out on runways with her pump on, and it's really cool. And I really like that she does it. She's extremely beautiful. I don't know. And I also like to be like a navigator for other people. That's like my goal, is to be able to create motivation in other people and like have them do whatever they want, because you can do whatever you want. You can literally do what you want to do. And I just don't have limiting beliefs like that. And I know some people are like, well, I don't have the money for this, or I don't have the access to this, or I don't have this. I've gotten so many things just by putting myself out there and like presenting myself. And I really want to showcase that. And that's like kind of my goal in life. Like, I'm like, yeah, I want to be famous one day. But my real goal, the reason why, is because I want people to see I can do that. You can too. Like you literally can do it. I don't care if the odds are against you. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts about it, I guess.
Your poetry, is that do you write like what type of poetry do you write? Like dark shit or like some like happy flowers?
Yeah, I write dark shit. People tend to. My parents were worried at first. They're like, "Is Sterling gonna kill herself?" And I'm like, "No. If I'm not writing, maybe question it." I write super dark stuff. I write more contemplative. It's not like negative. It's more like negative to positive. Like there's always a hope at the end of usually my poetry, or even a contemplation or a thought or a wish.
Yeah.
Is kind of how my poetry goes.
Yeah, I think writing about dark stuff is better, because you can talk to 20 people, right? And I guarantee like all 20 of those people experience some type of sadness or something negative in their life. Not everyone experience full bliss and happiness, but everyone can relate to like some type of dark shit, right? And when people hear sad songs, that's why sad songs are so impactful. Like,
I know. Going through the moment.
Yeah, instead of like an Adele song. What's that song that she came out with? That recent one where she's like, "Hello." That song is sad. I mean, it's
me.
Yeah, that song. If you listen to that song, and then if you listen to Pharrell, "Happy,"
oh yes,
like which one will make you start thinking about the world or having thoughts about anything? Exactly. Probably the Adele song.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, very true. I mean, I think with my stuff, I've had people, like when I was posting it a lot more on my art account, a lot of people like DM me and being like, thank you for sharing that, because I didn't know how to express what I wanted to, and now I understand because you said something and I'm going through that. Even in everyday life. That's why I'm comfortable talking about my rape stuff. I'm comfortable. I want to be comfortable so that other people can come out and I can be prepared to take on what they need to express, whatever that is. It's because it's hard for people. Poets, are always in their feels, or spoken word, we'll say. Poets are in their feels a lot, but most people struggle with like being reflective. Because you have to feel the pain to be reflective. And so I'm used to being always uncomfortable, and I'm used to being there. So I'm like, well, if I express this, maybe someone will be able to heal from this. And I don't, when I talk about all these things that have happened in my life that are not necessarily great, I don't necessarily want to place myself as the victim, but just more as the survivor. So it's not like bearing it onto you when I'm talking, like, for example, this podcast with you. I'm not bearing that onto you. I'm just stating facts of what kind of happened and how I was feeling in those moments.
What part of, I mean, you do a lot of artsy things, right? So which field do you enjoy the most? I
enjoy entertaining the most. I think I enjoy modeling. I did take a quite a long break. I mean, I was doing the lingerie and working for the boutique, but I enjoy kind of being in front of camera to some sort of capacity. Going into art directing is great, and I do love it because I have such a creative world. I have like over 13,000 almost pins on Pinterest. I don't even know if you understand what that means, but it's a lot. It's a lot of pins. There's a lot going on there in my brain, collecting things for different photo shoots and stuff. But I like being in front of camera. I like being able to express myself in that way. It's fun to do that.
Okay, you say that. Now, what field do you think people see you the most? And when I say that, how I'm explaining it is like you're a poet, right? You write poetry, you put it out to the world. You take pictures. You're a photographer. You put that out to the world. You model. People see you. You put that out to the world. You what you say? You direct shit.
I do. Like, it's photography, basically. Yeah. I mean, I do the
So you do all this.
I do
and you put it out to the world. Which one of those do you think, not which one you enjoy the most, but which one do you think people notice you and see you the most?
I probably would say the deepest part of me would probably be my spoken word and poetry. And then the next would be the art direction, because that derives from my poetry. It's just prettier. So people are going to take it at face value, I think, is more so. Because even on my Instagram now, I tell people, like, even the guys who are like, can I have your Instagram? I'm like, yeah, you can have it. I'm crazy on there. I'm telling you, I'm very, very unfiltered. And I have everything from cute stuff to like inner thoughts to how I process the world to all that. So like that kind of goes into my poetry a lot. It's just this unfiltered energy. And it's like you kind of accept it or you don't. But I'm not going to force it onto you, but you can come to it. So that's kind of, I would say my poetry is probably the thing that people would see for me as, I guess, in that way.
Do you have a muse?
I don't.
No.
It's just me.
You don't get inspiration from anyone?
I don't, actually. Yeah. I know. I just, you know what? It was, see, this is so ego of me, but when I was younger and I was like getting through difficult times, I would just talk to myself out loud when I was a kid, like even starting at 10. I would talk to myself out loud in poem. And I would just talk in rhyme just to myself. And like, as I was cleaning the kitchen at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night or like whatever I was doing, it was like a self-soothing thing. And that's like kind of what I did. And then I went to AP literature. I was terrible at it, but I did get extra credit on my poem at that time. And it's called, I don't have it memorized, but it's called Brown and Agile Child. And it's kind of this like, I don't know, have you seen Fantasia? Have you seen any of
the singer?
Fantasia is this like, I think it was a Disney who made it.
Oh, you're
it was
talking
like
about the Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, all the little shorts.
I know what you're talking about. That shit came out in like 62. I haven't seen.
It's old.
Yeah, it's like the first Disney movie that ever came out.
Yeah, they're all like
anyway,
short.
I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it.
So there's this one short of this woman, and she is kind of like this fairy, and she's growing all these flowers, and she's like going around, and she has like this kind of whimsical, wingish look to her. And then all of a sudden this darkness comes, and she like runs away, and like she's dying. And then all of a sudden there was like a sprout of hope. I think there's like a flower or something. And then she decided to like burst out of the darkness and then start again with the flowers. And like, I don't think that was my kind of idea around this poem, but it was kind of the nature of this poem. It's like, hey, you're going to have, like, it's just like talking to my younger self. And that was when I was 17. It's just like, hey, you're going to have all these people who are going to try to want you. They want you for your magic and your power. But you have to understand not everybody is good. But that doesn't mean you have to hide yourself. And you don't have to put yourself away in a glass container for them to understand you. And that was like the first time that I got extra credit on anything. And like I had a D+ in this class, and he never gave out extra credit. And he even wrote that in. He's like, I never get out extra credit. You actually did amazing. This is like the most beautiful thing I've ever read. Yeah.
You don't happen to have that poem in your phone, do you?
Oh, I might. Let me see.
Yeah, let's hear it. If you don't, let's hear any poem.
Any poem? Oh gosh. Proud and agile child. I have a picture of it, but I don't know if I have it here. I don't have it in my notes, but I will give, if I find it faster at some other point tonight. I'll read you what I read a couple days ago, actually. If you want to choose one, do you want to choose?
Just read whatever.
Read whatever?
You choose one.
Alrighty. This one is called I'm Insecure. It's obvious, or has my mistrust from constantly being crushed put me in this rabbit hole? I need reassurance of your fascination, positive verbal slurring that come from dry mouths tiringly saying nothing like a deserted haven. I want to be perfect. I heard words conjoined today that made me feel disarray. I felt a pang knowing it was frank. I'm obsessive and hyper-focused on the hyperbole of what others say. I get in my head, loving as my baseline when someone merely treats me nice, and I just so desperately am balancing myself between feeling nothing at all. Though personally, if I could just feel it all, I would. I can't act upon my first intention as it's too much for people to handle. Then my response is too quickly let go and come back punching. But how can I feel safe when all I want is clear answers, not convoluted misnomers? I'm stable compared to years ago, though. I became a dysfunction when what was said isn't the truth and it's on me to be perfect. Though perfect I am not, and then I become the villain. I hear it in my head, but since I continue to be ghosted by phantoms of my pasts, the only person yelling villain is me to myself. On repeat, they've left the chat. I write my vulnerability on pages for everyone to see in hopes of being understood and freed, but sometimes then I see myself as needy. Though friends are here to reassure me, I know they'd understand that sometimes we just feel lonely, even with a room full of people who love us just as deeply. Thoughtful poems help me sort out my thoughts through imaginary. They are speeches I wish I could give to the deceased that left me wailing in empty rooms echoing my evils, punching myself over and over again because of my insecurities that got the best of me. I acted out of sorts, but I don't stay laying in defeat. I keep moving towards my dreams. I just always wished, since little, communication was stronger from those who think differently than me. I'm insecure. So that was the one I did like 2 days ago. I think I wrote that one really fast too. I write most of them pretty quickly.
That was good.
I can read one more if you're open to it.
Yeah, read one more.
This one is called Rain Showers. I sat in the shower letting the water cry for me. I stared hyper-fixated on the endless stream. I couldn't think, but I let the rain speak to me. Comforting and serene. It drowned out the noise of dead space. I can't run away, but I can be myself naked and bare. Nothing to touch and nothing to see. I could rely on water to stop me my ragged breath and to pretend I didn't shed a tear, to quell my fears. It stops my overreactive mind for just a moment as it doesn't judge who I am but lets me be me. It doesn't have the solution, but it prepares me to solve it for myself. It's the hug and rub on the back pattering on my head. It cries for me because it knows it can't truly help. That's Rain Showers. And this, the first one is kind of just, it was me kind of upset because I was like, I ended a friend group, I think, again. A lot of friends kind of leave me because I'm a lot to handle. So they tend to leave, and then I'm like writing about it because I'm like, I try to do my best to like communicate with you guys. Could you please like come, sort myself? And with Rain Showers, like my comfort is sitting in the darkness on the floor in the shower. I don't know if you ever experienced this, but
No.
it's very comforting when you're upset. And that was like kind of my only sensory space I could go to when I'm just really overwhelmed and things are happening, you know, within medical stuff and them not covering my insurance or threatening my prescriptions against me or, you know, friends being awful people intentionally to like financial things. Like, so I always just sit in the shower and like, you know, just sit there and think.
Where do you see yourself in like the next 5 years? What do you want to accomplish?
I want to be on stage more. I took a break.
Stage as far as what?
Stage
Acting,
as far
right?
as like acting, speaking, modeling. I mean, I mostly want to do more spoken word. I would love to get into kind of more of the music realm of things, just so that I can also connect to people through there. That's going to take a little bit of time because I haven't done music since I was 20. So it's been about 9 years. I have to get back into it. But even before that, just doing more spoken word stuff. People have been inviting me places more since I've been going out more. And I just really want to make like more of a difference, you know, for people to be able to grow. I don't know. That's like kind of my thoughts about it. I'm doing art directing and photography here and there, but it's kind of overwhelming for me. It's a lot of work and like it's not fully my passion as much as like writing poetry or doing more entertainment things that kind of guide a narrative in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where can people reach out to you? Like if you this is your time to
It's my time.
I mean this whole interview is your time, but this is this is a time where you can tell the people, give out your socials if you want, or if anything you want to promote right now, like go.
Yeah, so I am on Sonder.Rene. It's SONDER .RENE, and I'm the first option there. I believe it has me in a suit in the profile. And you can reach me on there. I am unhinged. I do have a lot of thoughts about everything and contemplations. So
You said you're unhinged or you're on hinge?
I'm both.
All right.
No, I'm unhinged.